Greetings, I'm Sand Recap, and welcome to the film, Box Barcelona. The story takes place in Barcelona, where a mysterious phenomenon is driving people to madness and causing them to take their own lives upon seeing unknown creatures.
Hola?
The movie begins with Sebastian taking his daughter, Anna, to a roller rink where they skate together, enjoying some quality time. However, their tranquility is interrupted when they hear a suspicious noise. Fearing danger, they decide to hide, but unfortunately, they witness a man being attacked and robbed by a group of blindfolded individuals who are stealing supplies, including canned food. Sebastian spots a rose among the broken bottles and sees his daughter cowering against the wall, which changes his perspective on the situation. When the thieves finally depart, he decides it's best to leave the place and starts making his way to the exit with Anna. Realizing that it's risky to deal with the desperate criminals, they put on welding goggles for protection and venture outside. Together, they navigate through the desolate streets, witnessing the signs of disorder caused by the enigmatic creatures. Throughout their journey, news updates are heard in the background, warning people not to look at the creatures as doing so might lead to madness and self-destruction using whatever means available. Walking through cluttered streets that resemble the aftermath of French protests, the group of travelers encounters 4 surviving individuals, all blindfolded, pushing a cart filled with supplies. Sebastian, wanting to ensure his daughter's safety, instructs her to hide while he assesses the situation. Engaging in conversation with the new acquaintances, he struggles to gain their trust as they are wary of helping a stranger. However, he captures their attention by revealing his knowledge of generators, thanks to his background as an engineer, and where they might be found. After some consideration, the citizens become eager to obtain the comforts electricity can offer. They extend an invitation for Sebastian to join them in their shelter, which is located in a massive garage at the bus depot. There, a new arrival undergoes examination by a doctor to have his wounds stitched up. Later, while sharing a bowl of soup with his newfound companions, Sebastian encounters a man with horrifying scars in place of his eyes. The man shares his haunting story, explaining that not everyone who sees the mysterious creatures ends their life. Some are driven insane and believe they must forcibly expose others to these unknown beings to reveal the true light. When these deranged individuals intruded upon their shelter, the scarred man used a distraction to seize a knife and deliberately gouged out his own eyes. The blind zealots remained indifferent to his self-inflicted act. During the night, while the other survivors dozed off inside one of the buses, Sebastian quietly searches the garage for the keys. Skillfully gathering all the keys, he returns to the vehicle without disturbing anyone. As he attempts to start the engine, the doctor, who had awakened, catches him in the act. Curious about Sebastian's actions, she observes him as he stands behind a glass door, searching for the right key to start the engines. The bus begins to move, carrying all the passengers along. They try to break the glass to reach Sebastian and stop him, but the obstacle doesn't deter him. With unwavering composure, he drives through, breaking through locked gates and venturing outside. However, the bus encounters a pile of garbage and tips over. Injured and bloodied, Sebastian crawls out of the wreckage, followed by another man. The man informs Sebastian that the creatures are approaching, describing them as beautiful beings. Swirling leaves and debris fill the air, signifying the arrival of these mysterious entities. When people lay their eyes on them, their vision is covered by a golden film, except for one man who, upon seeing the creatures, tragically takes his own life with a glass shard. From the man's wound, Sebastian witnesses a dark mass emerging. Sebastian manages to break through a human barrier on the railway tracks just in time to meet an approaching train with open arms. After successfully crossing, they find refuge in a Catholic school, where Sebastian takes his daughter. Exiting through the cathedral, they encounter Father Esteban, who admits that he has always longed to witness a miracle as proof of God's will, and now his dream has come true. He believes that the Almighty has sent angels to earth. Covering his daughter with his jacket and giving her a seraphim medallion, Sebastian steps outside. There, he reunites with his wife, who, unaware of her surroundings, is immediately hit by a car. Sebastian seeks solace in the empty church, while the apparitions of his daughter dance nearby, and he hallucinates messages from God in the icons. Later, he comes across a group of psychopaths hanging from their hands, who have also seen the creatures but perceive them as extraterrestrial beings, not angels. During his journey, Sebastian encounters Claire, a blindfolded woman who hears his footsteps. He cautiously approaches her, intending to remove her blindfold, but his plan is interrupted by the sudden appearance of a dog. Among the other survivors, Sebastian employs a proven strategy to gain their trust, promising them a generator. Despite the challenges, he succeeds in earning their confidence. They lead him to their shelter, where he encounters a little girl named Sophie, who speaks German, making her communication incomprehensible to the others. Rafa, the dog trainer, notices the recent stitches on Sebastian's forehead and asks about their origin. The newcomer admits that the doctor from the deceased group performed the procedure, and he is the sole survivor. Rafa astutely accuses Sebastian of murdering his comrades and wants to expel him from the shelter. The ghosts advise Sebastian to adopt a different approach and involve Sophie. Using his knowledge of German, Sebastian converses with Sophie and discovers that she was on a tourist trip with her mother when the chaos began. They miraculously escaped on a ferry and learned about a museum castle on a mountain, accessible only by a funicular. Sophie went there after losing her mother, and Claire found and took care of her. Realizing that the secure castle, which cannot be reached on foot by the psychopaths, would serve as an ideal refuge, the survivors decide to head there. However, there's a catch. They must walk through the entire city with blindfolds on, following the mandatory blindfold rule. Despite the challenge, they prepare for the rescue mission. During the night, while everyone is asleep, Sebastian discreetly cuts the leash of Rafa's dog. In the presence of the creatures during the day, the dog breaks free due to false auditory hallucinations. Each person hears their trainer's voice and envisions their dogs being harmed. Rafa removes his blindfold and becomes another victim. Sebastian witnesses the life leaving Rafa's body. The remaining survivors divide into two groups. Some seek shelter while others attend to Rafa and his dog. The dog fiercely guards its owner's body and rips off a mask, revealing the true form of the creature beneath. It attacks Sebastian, but his wife pulls him away. They find refuge in an old factory, and the rest of the group joins them, except for the deceased Rafa and his dog. As they prepare to rest, the survivors offer each other comfort. Octavio suggests that the monsters have a quantum nature, only taking form when observed, and each person sees something individual before their demise, explaining the voices of loved ones they hear. Sebastian gives Sophie the Seraphim medallion, previously owned by his daughter. He reminisces about hiding from the psychopaths who forced people to look at the creatures on the streets. Later, the ghost of his daughter, Anna, shames him, as the medallion belonged to her, not Sophie. In the morning, the survivors inspect the house for safety, using blindfolds to avoid seeing the creatures. They cover the windows with curtains to prevent accidental sightings. Sebastian deceives Octavio by claiming the windows are covered when they are not. Octavio removes his blindfold, seeing light from outside, and realizes Sebastian's betrayal. He grabs a knife but ends up inflicting harm on himself instead, collapsing in a pool of blood. Claire hears the commotion and investigates. Anna's ghost urges Sebastian to remove Claire's blindfold, but he is hesitant. The group continues their journey, with Sebastian's glasses not truly obstructing his vision, allowing him to spot traces left by the psychopaths. Suddenly, one of the psychopaths appears on a motorcycle. Using his vision, Sebastian leads the others away from the danger, but the dog's bite causes the old man to trip and injure his leg. His wife stays with him while Sebastian takes Claire and Sophie in search of an open door. As the couple waits, a mysterious creature approaches them slowly. Realizing it's their end, they remove their blindfolds to look at each other one last time. Inside the house, Claire comes to the realization that Sebastian is one of the surviving psychopaths who saw the creatures. She accuses him of killing the others. Meanwhile, the ghost of Anna tries to convince her father to open the door and sacrifice themselves, leading to an argument between Sebastian and the deceased girl. Claire guides Sophie up the stairs to the rooftop, both of them wearing blindfolds. They step outside, unaware of the advantage the psychopath has in this open space. Sebastian catches up with them at the rooftop's edge, claiming he wants to help, but Claire vehemently refuses any assistance. Claire slips and falls, but fortunately lands on construction scaffolding below, saving her from hitting the asphalt. Sebastian reassures Sophie, promising to show her the most beautiful angels, and his hand reaches for the blindfold, but he hesitates. Anna urges him to finish what he started, ready to untie the knot. However, at the last moment, he changes his mind and embraces the girl. He recalls how, on Anna's birthday night, the psychopaths led by Father Esteban invaded their home. They forced them to the roof in the morning and made them look at the creatures. When Anna saw the creature, she smiled and jumped down. As Sebastian rushed to the edge, his vision clouded, and Anna's ghost stood beside him, holding his hand. Sebastian returns to Claire to share his plan. He will lead them to the funicular. Claire doubts him, but the appearance of other psychopaths in the house confirms his words. Reluctantly agreeing, the survivors escape through the woods from the rooftop. The woman psychopath catches up with them, unaware that Sebastian can also see the creatures. A fight ensues, and she attempts to gouge his eyes out. However, Sebastián manages to knock her down briefly, and the survivors escape. Sebastián loads his companions into a car and drives away, despite the aggressive resistance of the bloodthirsty psychopaths, led by Father Esteban, an old acquaintance. In pursuit, Sebastián skillfully blocks the hostile mob's path with his car. They reach the funicular tower, and he barricades the entrance with his car, setting it on fire by stuffing a rag into the gas tank. As the psychopaths attempt to get through, the burning car becomes an obstacle. Sebastián instructs Claire to take Sophie up the stairs while he stays behind to cover their retreat. While climbing, Sophie nearly falls due to a loose step, but Claire pulls her up, realizing the risk they are taking blindly. At the control cabin, Claire tries to start the funicular, but there's no electricity. She notices a bell and rings it, signaling those hiding at the castle. The sound attracts the attention of the quantum monsters, and Claire hears voices, tightly shutting her eyes. However, her plan works, and the power is restored, and the funiculars start moving. But the voices continue to trouble her, and she lets go of Sophie's hand to cover her ears. Sophie, hearing her mother's voice, almost falls off the platform, but Claire manages to save her just in time. Meanwhile, at the bottom, Father Esteban stands amidst the fire. Sebastián confronts him, calling him a false prophet, and grabs a weapon for self-defense. Anna's ghost stands in the fire, urging Sebastián to let the psychopaths pass. Anna approaches her father, enveloped in flames, and cries out that he is not real. Sebastián pierces the ghost with his weapon, but beneath the facade, it is Father Esteban. Esteban then uses a bone dagger to wound Sebastián and presses him close, guided by the sound of opening doors. Claire decides to blindly jump, carrying Sophie in her arms. At the right moment, they enter the closing doors of the funicular, which safely takes them away. Sebastián, lying on his back, gazes at the sky and smiles. Upon arrival, they are met by armed soldiers who take Claire for interrogation. Claire sees a sheltered area where people are growing vegetables and spots a woman, Sophie's mother. The military, thinking they have everything under control, allows the family reunion. But Claire is taken for examination, where they also draw blood for analysis. The doctor explains that they are developing an antidote to neutralize the influence of the monsters, supposedly caused by extreme stress, which can alter DNA and lead to psychopathy. The film ends with a scene of an experiment on mice. The military has managed to capture one of the monsters and keeps it confined.